Hello, darlings. It's been a while since we've done a sunscreen video, but we're back. So today we're going over 8 sunscreens that'll make you matte, that'll make you glow, and some that'll make you say, oh, no! As always, there are timestamps listed below so you can reference back to any specific sunscreens that are mentioned in this video. I'm thinking about starting a little mini segment, probably here and also on Instagram if my mind allows me to remember it. And it is, what hurts today? Because I feel like over 40, every morning you wake up, it's a mixed bag of what could be going wrong for the day, okay? And today for me, I pulled something like in my mid-back, like in my shoulder blade kind of area, like, can y'all see that? Like right there? Not that that made it any better. Okay, it's good now because I took a little puff of my inhaler. I was wheezing, and it's the type of muscle pull that when I breathe, that I can kind of feel it more, especially when I take a deep breath in, which is what I do sometimes to kind of control the wheezing without having to reach for the inhaler. But y'all let me know in the comments, what hurts today? So anyway, let's move on to these sunscreens. So since we haven't done one of these sunscreen videos in a while, I feel the need to remind you of a couple of things. So number one, yes, people of color need sunscreen, okay? Because number one, and this is not in any particular order, about 89% of the premature signs of aging are because of sun exposure. Now, you know, black don't crack, Asian don't raisin, but that sun can still accelerate things faster. We age in different ways than, you know, our white counterparts. But especially number two, sun exposure worsens pigmentation. So the dark spots, the melasma, the discoloration. If you're trying to, you know, get rid of that and you don't have sunscreen, you're not trying to get rid of that. Plain and simple. Okay, also, these are chemical sunscreens that we're talking about in this video. And folks, please don't let that word, chemical sounds like a big old scary word, but do not let the word chemical deter you. Okay? Because everything from the air we breathe to the water we drink to our fingernails, our skin, everything is made up of chemicals. This list of chemicals right here, don't it look all scary? It's so long, got a whole bunch of stuff on it. But you want to know something? It's a strawberry. So folks, stop being scary and spreading misinformation, which is quite rampant in our community, and to be quite honest, I'm sick of it. Also with sunscreen, sunscreen is not a little bit goes a long way kind of thing. You need to put on enough sunscreen in order to get the SPF that's listed on the label. So that is 2 milligrams of sunscreen per centimeter square of skin, which is going to equal to about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of sunscreen for your face, neck, and ears, okay? From the neck down, you're gonna do about 1 ounce, which is about a shot glass full. Those of us with more body, you know, we're gonna need more sunscreen. Make sure you're getting all the crevices and everything, okay? Now, another misconception about sunscreen is that people put it on because they're afraid of being darker. That is, well, we do have issues like that in our community, but that's another issue for another day. However, you can love the sun and love your skin at the same time. Now, another thing that I want to talk about before we go into the sunscreens, and don't worry, it's coming up, but if I don't put this stuff in the videos, then, you know, y'all be blaming me, talk about, oh, you said blah, 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 but da-da-da-da, and, you know, that's why I got to put this kind of stuff in the video. Another thing to know about sunscreens, what you put on before your sunscreen can affect the way that your sunscreen looks and performs, okay? So if you put on some big, thick, greasy moisturizer, and then you put sunscreen on top of that, there's a chance that everything gonna be big, thick, and greasy, you know? That kind of thing. If you put something super mattifying underneath a sunscreen, you know, that can make your sunscreen look a little bit more matte, like, you know, that sort of thing. Also, there are some bases that don't kind of play well with each other. So if you have something that's like an oil base and you're putting something that's like a gel base on top, sometimes, and I'm just using that as an example, it could be other bases as well. There's nothing against oils and gels, you know, in some circumstances they do play very well. But you can have products that don't play very well together. So you might have noticed this, you put your skincare on, then you put on your sunscreen, and then all of a sudden the sunscreen's like balling up on your skin. When you run into a situation like that, you either want to A, wait until all of the layers kind of, you know, melt into your skin and then put your sunscreen on. Or B, you might want to switch things up because maybe certain products don't work well with that sunscreen, so you might have to switch things up. But anyway, with all that said, let's get into this review. Okay, so first up, the Olay Super Cream SPF 30. This is about $34.99. Sometimes you might be able to find a sale on a drugstore product or a coupon or something like that, but it's about $34.99 for 1.7 ounces, which is going to get you 50 milliliters. Now, I have partnered with Olay before for to talk about this sunscreen. I don't partner with nobody if they product sucks. Because the day I partner with somebody and their product sucks, they would have had to have paid me $10 million, okay? Because, you know, I need enough money so that I can hide away and run away from y'all when y'all start throwing stakes at me for lying to you, okay? I gotta sell out real big, and 10 million might not even be enough, okay? But I love this sunscreen. It's very creamy. It's a super cream, right? It's like very creamy. I have oily skin, and you might think at first like, wow, this is not gonna work for me because it's creamy, it's thick, but this blends beautifully into the skin. It leaves a matte finish, and it is like the most perfect base if you're wearing makeup. If you don't wear makeup, it's beautiful for, you know, like it gives the skin a beautiful natural matte finish. It's not gonna give you casket sharp matte, but it's also not gonna give you grease, which is, you know, can be great. Now, I've been wearing this, I'm wearing it right now. I've been wearing this into, you know, some pretty warm days, but the temperatures have been kind of weird here in New York. So it's been cold, then it gets hot, then it's cold for a really long time, and it makes you think that like the earth is dying, and are you dying with it? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's summer. I would have to see how far into the summer that I can get with wearing this. If it's anything like the Olay, what's the Olay, the other Olay one called? Oh my God, my over 40 brain.
A few moments later.
Whips. If it's anything like the Olay whips, I believe that I should be able to wear this going into the summer. If I can wear it with makeup, it's gonna depend on, you know, what makeup look I'm going for and da-da-da-da-da. But this is quite versatile. Have you tried this? Would you try this? Let me know in the comments. Now, next. The thing that I prepare about the most, except for this, just this past second, just happened, and my microphone died. I did not know, so I gotta refilm from this part all the way down to the end of the video, and I'm limited on time because I've got neighbors coming by. We're about to do game night. We were gonna do it in the other room because we got like a community room kind of thing, but somebody's reserving that for a party, so I was like, we could do it here. And also I'm schwitzing because then I was like, well, while I'm waiting for the battery to charge, I might as well, you know, move things around, vacuum, wipe the counters down, all of that other stuff. The things you do for your craft. Anyway, I believe I'm picking it up from the Dr. Jart Every Sunday Sun Fluid SPF 50 Plus. And hopefully I can give you the same energy I was given before, because I was given some really great energy before. So this is a lightweight runny fluid. So like with these lightweight runny fluids, which I find to be pretty common in Korean skincare. Now, as I say Korean skincare, Korean sunscreen, which this calls itself a Korean sunscreen, I have a little gripe, and you let me know in the comments if you agree with me. I feel that, because there's a lot of new Korean brands in Sephora saying, you know, and Sephora's touting, oh, we've got Korean sunscreens, and I want to be like, no, you don't. No, you don't, because I kind of feel like if a Korean sunscreen only uses filters that we can use here in the US, I kind of feel like it's not a Korean sunscreen. You let me know your thoughts in the comments. But as I had said previously in the other version of this video, I don't want to keep harping on American filters versus non-American filters and whatnot, because while it is kind of strange that the US is on the slow bop approving the newer filters, I don't want you to get caught up in that. You find a sunscreen that you love, that looks good, that does all the things for you, which might not be just one sunscreen. You might need to change them up depending on the season, your lifestyle, what you're doing. You know, the sunscreen for, you know, going to brunch with the girls might not be the same sunscreen that you would wear, you know, going to the beach or, you know, yada yada. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, as I digress, like I said, this is my second time filming it, so give me some grace. Anyway, this has a very spa smell. It doesn't make me like sick or nauseated or anything, because there's a lot of smells that make me sick and nauseated, but it does have a very strong spa smell that can be like boom when you put it on. However, after a while it does start to dissipate, and it's not strong to where I didn't even notice it at all. When I put this on, my skin looked shiny, okay? But then after some time, it started to calm down and wasn't as shiny. However, with me having oily skin, this is probably not something that I would want to wear when it gets very hot out. I would probably, you know, delegate this to be a winter sunscreen. Wear it. It could be something I would wear on its own during the summer, but I wouldn't wear makeup on top of it because I feel like it would have me doing the most trying to touch up my makeup throughout the day. So would you try this? Have you tried this? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and by the way, this was sent to me in PR. It's $44 for 3.38 ounces, which is 100 milliliters. Now, next up, also sent to me through PR, is the Youth to the People Youthscreen. This is SPF 60, and it says it's the Daily Hydrate Plus Remix. Daily Hydrate plus Pollution Defense Fluid, right? Now, let me tell you something about brands and like this like marketing language that they use. And I don't even blame them, because if I had a brand, I would also use like flowery marketing language, because you gotta rope the consumer in, because y'all be fickle as hell, and you know, like you gotta do what you gotta do to make your money, okay? However, I would say a majority of sunscreens, if not all of them, are going to give you some pollution defense by the, you know, just by virtue of them protecting you from UV, and there's other ingredients often in sunscreens that are also going to help protect you. So saying something is like, you know, it's going to protect you from environmental damage and things like that. A lot of products already do. A lot of sunscreens already do. They just don't call it out, especially if a sunscreen has an antioxidant in it, like vitamin C or niacinamide or vitamin E or green tea, etc., etc. These are things that are, you know, kind of give you that protection anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I get why they do it. I would do it too. Anyway, this is a light fluid liquid. It's gonna give you a sheen. It's going to, you know, you're gonna be shining with this sunscreen, okay? And it does feel a little balmy. Like I don't mind a sheen with a sunscreen. Like I really love the First Aid Beauty I forget what it's called. It's in a blue bottle, but I've talked about it in a couple of videos. Did I talk about it in a couple of videos? I don't know, but I definitely did an Instagram video, which I'll stick up here, and so you could see it. That has a nice radiant finish, but when I touch my skin, I'm not getting like a whole bunch of product residue on my skin. With this, it does feel a little balmy. I don't like that. I don't want to feel, you know, like the product on me. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I do feel it. And it could also be because I have oily skin. If you have dry skin, maybe it won't feel as balmy on you, or if you have dry skin, maybe you like that balmy feel. But all that said, this is probably going to be more of like a winter sunscreen for me. I'd wear it, but probably when, you know, in the winter, more in the winter time than in the summer. Would you try this? Have you tried this? Let me know in the comments. By the way, $30, 1.3 ounces, 38 milliliters. Like I told you, this is my second time filming, you know, show me some grace. Next up, from Wise Beauty. Now, you might be like, but that says YSE, but it's pronounced Wise Beauty. This is by the supermodel Molly Sims. She came out with this line recently. I wonder if YSE stands for something. It might. I think they might have put it in the PR materials. However, this was sent to me a while ago. Them PR materials are probably now moonlighting as like a t-shirt being sold at H&M or something. This has a pretty radiant finish. Like, it's not shimmer, because shimmer gives you like a 50 million little particles, and that could be a lot. This is going to give you radiance. Like, oh my God, she drank 50 gallons of water. You know, she's eating healthy. She looks great. However, as beautiful as it looks, this is the kind of like, it has a time and a place, right? So it's an SPF 30 primer. It's $54 for 1.7 ounce product, which is 50 ml. The packaging is beautiful. Like, this is like, oh my God, I'm pretty sure a good portion of the price comes in the packaging, because this is beautiful packaging. This is the type of packaging where you're like, darling, let me put on my sunscreen. And then if like somebody tries you can just, you know, like multitasking. Now, it's called a primer, right? But just because something is a primer doesn't mean that you can't use it when you're not wearing makeup, because anything that has SPF in it can count as SPF. You just have to use enough. And hopefully the beginning of the video, it did catch where I said that e.l.f. sunscreen. Like, now I'm paranoid. I gotta keep like checking to make sure the microphone lights are on. e.l.f. sunscreen is 2 milligrams of sunscreen per centimeter square of skin, which is gonna be about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon for your face, neck, and ears, and 1 ounce, which is a shot glass, about a shot glass full for the neck down. You know, those of us with more body gonna need, you know, more sunscreen, okay, than 1 ounce. But like I was saying, you put enough of this on, it's going to count. You don't have to use it as a makeup primer. You could, that's amazing, but you don't have to use it as a makeup primer. And the same thing, like if you have a mattifying primer or a glow primer or like a radiant finish primer. If you, one day you're like, if you're somebody who doesn't wear makeup, or if you decide, you know, today's gonna be a makeup free day, and you're like, oh, but I wish my skin could look a little bit more matte, you could put a mattifying primer on. You do your skincare, put your sunscreen on, you know, give the sunscreen some time, like 10 to 15 minutes, whatever, put your primer on, your mattifying primer. Boom. You want to look radiant and glowy? Put on a radiant finish primer. Boom. You don't have to use primers for makeup, okay? Like, anyway. Now, I will say, I love the way that this looked, but it's not every day that I'm looking for a glow. You know what I mean? And at $54, I feel like that's a lot for me to pay for something that I'm not going to use that often. But if that's you, where you're like, oh no, I must glow at all times, like, give it to me, then this is for you. Now, I will say that the glow seems to fall more on the cooler side, right? Which I thought that looked amazing on me. I have neutral undertones. However, not to say that if you have warm undertones that this is going to look terrible on you. If you have warm undertones, I would try to get into a store and, try a little bit on your skin to see how it's going to look. Cause, typically with a warm undertone, you want to wear warmer things. And I felt like this was a little bit on the cooler side, although it could veer a little more on the warmer side too, like, I don't know, I don't have warm undertones. And the glow does kind of tone down as time passes, but obviously if you reapply this, then you intensify the glow. Would you try this? Have you tried it? Let me know in the comments. Next up, we have the Dr. Jart Every Sunday Ultra Sheer Priming Sunscreen Stick SPF 40. This is $30 for 0.67 ounces, which is 19 grams. So this sunscreen sticks are having a moment. We've had sunscreen sticks in the past. Like I think Shiseido was one of the first ones. Well, I don't know if they were one of the first ones. I think they were one of the ones to, people were like, oh my God, the Shiseido sunscreen stick. But that Shiseido sunscreen stick has been around for at least 10 years, maybe even more. But sunscreen sticks are kind of having a moment, like kind of sort of little bit having a moment. They're amazing because like you can stick this in your pocket. These are less likely to kind of like melt or explode or anything like that. Like you can take this anywhere. I'm assuming this packaging is supposed to like clip onto something. I can't figure out how it's supposed to work. Like, can you? I don't know if it like broke when I took it out of the box or what have you, but I'm assuming that this is supposed to like be able to like clip onto your bag or something so you can, easy access. So the stick itself curves so that it can glide onto the skin, like the curves of the skin. And this glides really nicely on the skin. I've seen where like cosmetic chemists and people who like make sunscreens and, know all the science stuff and whatnot, where they say like 4 swipes of a sunscreen stick is going to get you the SPF listed. But I would say that it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you kind of make sure that you get all of the, you don't have any skip areas. Because to me, I feel like you're gonna do way too much if you do 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that seems excessive to me. But this leaves a radiant finish. It did feel a little balmy on. I don't love that. I don't love to which is weird because when I have makeup on, I know not to touch my face, but when I don't have makeup on, it's like I roll around on the couch or whatever. I don't like to feel like product, like it feels a little balmy. It's not the worst feeling in the world, but it's just like I'd rather something just feel like nothing, right? You're gonna feel a little balminess with something like this. But another plus side is that something like this is easy to reapply. I've seen people reapply these sticks over their makeup. Not my ministry, because I feel like it then messes up my makeup and I have to put more makeup on and I don't want to be doing all of that. I personally prefer a mineral powder sunscreen to reapply over my makeup, and I use the one from Supergoop. I'll put a little demo here, and I'll link to a video where I talk about reapplying your sunscreen over your makeup. And those who are wondering, you can just wipe it off. Like you can use a makeup wipe or just get a paper towel with a little alcohol and wipe the makeup off and boom, boom, boom. Okay. Anyway, would you try this? Have you tried this? Let me know in the comments. Now, next up, and I feel like I've tried this already on the channel. Like I'm not even following my own advice of if you want to see what sunscreens I've tried on the channel, to just go to the channel, go to the little magnifying glass, little search thing and type in the name and any video will pop up. I forgot to do that, but I was like, you know what, we'll talk about it again because Krave recently sent this to me in PR, and so I was like, okay, let's talk about it again. So this is the Beet the Sun lightweight sunscreen, SPF 40 with a PA of 3+. My apologies if you're talking about the PA system again, because I don't remember at what point in the video I talked about it before the microphone died. But the PA system, it's not universal. It's definitely not something that has to be used in the US, but the PA system measures UVA. UVA is the rays from the sun that cause premature aging and that worsen pigmentation. And then there's UVB, which, they call the burning rays. That's the rays that can, burn the skin, tan the skin, you know, yada, yada, yada. There's other things that the UVA and the UVB rays do. Some of them can, well, that's another story for another day. But the PA scale helps to measure UVA, which a lot of people, especially if you if you have hyperpigmentation, UVA is definitely something you want to consider because that's something that's going to worsen pigmentation. So you want to make sure you have your sunscreen on. Anyway, a PA scale, the more pluses, and it goes up to 4 pluses, the more pluses something has, the higher the UVA rating. It's not a like perfect system, but you know, it's better than nothing. You know what I mean? Anyway, so this is the American version of their sunscreen. I remember they came out with one years ago. They couldn't label it as a sunscreen because it used filters that our slow ass system, you know, FDA has not approved any new. I said I wasn't gonna harp on these filters, and I gotta keep looking at this. If you don't film YouTube videos, you do not know how annoying it is to film a whole entire video and not have audio. Thankfully, I at least got part of it. Anyway, this is the American version of the sunscreen. It's $20 for 1.7 ounces, 50 milliliters. It's a lightweight milky fluid. It's gonna give you a radiant finish. It did feel a little balmy. It wasn't as bad as the Dr. Jart stick, but you know, there was a little, you know, I felt a little something on my skin when I was doing it. I could be the only weirdo that thinks of that. So, you know, ignore me if that's not a thing that you worry about. Having oily skin, I'd wear this on makeup-free days during the summer. I think it would be a little bit too radiant for me to wear under makeup because then I'd be like constantly touching up 50 million times. But in the colder months, yeah, I'd wear this underneath makeup. I think it's nice. I can't remember because it's been a long time for me to compare this to like how it feels and performs with the previous version, which I'm not even sure if they make anymore. I'd have to look that up. And like I said, I'm on a time crunch here. Like literally in 20 minutes, some of my neighbors are going to be like ringing my doorbell, and I'm not even really like dressed. Like I kind of want to take another shower because like I've been moving furniture around, but I smell really good still though. But it's like, you know, at any rate, would you try this? Have you tried this? Let me know in the comments. Next up, we have the new e.l.f. Suntouchable Invisi-Stick SPF 50. It says it's a no-touch application and it's water resistant up to 80 minutes. Now, reminder folks, water resistance does not mean waterproof. Water resistance means that you bide yourself a little time, but you still gonna need to reapply. Like if you go swimming, you're sweating profusely, you're crying. You know, you walking through New York City, all of a sudden somebody opens up a fire hydrant and then and you get wet, like you're gonna need to, you know, put your sunscreen on again, you know? But this is $14 for 0.63 ounces, 17.9 grams. That's a natural finish. It's not gonna feel greasy. If you had to like, you know, if you twisted my arm and you were like, Danielle, Dr. Jart or e.l.f. in terms of sunscreen sticks, I would say the e.l.f. because this is gonna give a natural finish. It's way more matte, but not like casket tart matte. It's way more matte than the Dr. Jart. It doesn't have that super balmy feel, but I still feel something on my skin, like if I were to touch my skin. Again, easy for reapplication. I mean, it doesn't come with the, you know, the fancy little thing here from, you know, that Dr. Jart has, but I feel like I've seen like at the dollar store or like wherever they have these little things that you can like have like a little pouch and then you just kind of stick this in the pouch and then you can carry it around with you, you know, if you want to do all of that. This also has a curve kind of feature on the stick itself so that when you know, go into the contours of your skin, it glides easily. It didn't have that curve and it was just like straight, like it would break off. So I'm happy for the curve here. And this is also something that you could reapply over makeup. Not my ministry, but it can be done. Would you try this? Have you tried this? Let me know in the comments. Next up, we have the Isdin Fusion Water Magic SPF 40 sunscreen. This is $38 for 1.7 ounces, which is 50 milliliters. Now, Isdin is a Spanish sunscreen brand. I've tried a couple of their sunscreens here on the channel. I can't remember the ones that I've tried though were, you know, from Spain, meaning that they had European filters, or if they were, you know, sold for the US market, meaning they have American filters. I don't remember, but if you wanted to see what I thought about them, you know, go in the little search thing and put in Isdin. They do have an amazing mineral sunscreen. It's quite pricey, but it's one of the most amazing mineral sunscreens that I've tried on this channel thus far. Anyway, this is not a mineral sunscreen, but it has a very watery texture, so you kind of got to be careful. It's like you kind of cup it instead of, you know, like you cup it and then you kind of, you know, it's gonna be a little watery. It leaves the skin with a radiant finish. It feels a little like a teeny bit balmy on, not bad, okay? I like things that dry down to a dry finish, you're not really feeling it. I wore this on a day when it was pretty warm out. I think it was like in the mid to high 70s, and it was fine. I didn't have makeup on. I do think that if it got hotter than that, like if it gets like over 80, that this is probably not the sunscreen that I would want to wear. And I would definitely not wear it on a makeup day during the summer. So I'd say this is more of like a fall, maybe winter, and probably spring, because you don't really get like a real spring here in New York anyway. Spring is actually winter until otherwise noted. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like 80 degrees. Well, let me know, would you try this? Have you tried this? Let's talk to me about this all in the comments. I forgot one, forgive me. So this is the Skylar Sunscreen Mist, right? Skylar is a brand that I think mostly makes fragrances. And baby, this sunscreen spray for the body. So with the sunscreen spray for your body, you spray it in your hand and then put it on your body, or you can spray it in your body and then rub it in with your hand, because you don't want to miss any areas, right? Because with the sunscreen spray, you're spraying it, some of the particles can get on your skin, some of it might wind up in the air on the floor, and then you wash your ass. So also make sure that you spray this in a well-ventilated room. I freaking love this. It smells like cotton candy. It's an SPF 30. It's called the Boardwalk Delight, okay? And that's my New York accent coming out, Wu-Tang. But the Boardwalk Delight, it is very delightful, provided that you like cotton candy scents. I do hope that they come out with more, because let me tell you, I'm about to go outside myself. It leaves a nice sheen. The sheen is not as sheeny as the Neutrogena, what's it called? The Neutrogena Sheer, I'll have the editor put it on the screen. But you know what I'm talking about. The Neutrogena one has like amazing shine. This one can have amazing shine too. You just got to spray more of it on. And then, you know, of course you reapply. I feel like sunscreens with shine are great for the body, because like you want to keep glowing, you're going to keep reapplying. So like the trick is like, ha, gotcha, you reapplied. So this smells freaking amazing to me. Look at that sheen. Okay. Like, let me show you on my arm, because I didn't put any on my arm yet. And the sheen stays there for a while, so I can't believe I forgot. Well, I know exactly how I forgot this, because it's in where I keep my body products. And I mostly had face stuff. Like, look at that. And then like what I usually do, like, because I don't normally wear a shirt like this in the summer. Usually I have like more skin exposed, but I'm just running out to go get some food real quick. But usually I put this on my neck and my neck and shoulders. Let me know in the comments if you would try this. The price is going to be on the screen. This is how much? 5 fluid ounces, 147 ml. I like it. I love it. The only caveat with this, you gotta love the way that the cotton candy smells, because otherwise it's like, ugh, brother, ugh. You know, like, would you try this? Have you tried this? Let me know in the comments. Now, right now, I'm gonna actually put some B-roll of me talking with a bunch of sunscreens in my hand, because I put them in the other room and I really don't even have the time to go and see what them sunscreens is talking about right at this moment. They is somewhere over there, but those sunscreens are some sunscreens that we are going to be talking about next. They're mineral sunscreens, most of them, including the infamous one from Tower 28 that everyone's been talking about. And if you click on right here, we're going to talk about it. But if you got here a little early, it's going to be another video there. So, you know, just be patient. But if you got here at the right time and that's that video that's right there, you're gonna be like, oh shoot, let me click on it. So click on it and I'll see you there.